So every now and then, another musician will reach out to me and inquire about the possibility of either opening for us or for putting together a joint bill somewhere, some point in the future. And with the latest of these, I was struck by how ineffective this particular person's pitch and communication were. And so, while changing the names to protect the innocent, it went something like this, with basically two sentences. Do you ever have local openers? I'm the lead singer of Candygram for Mongo. So, right there, the easiest thing for me to say is just, sorry, I'm not looking for openers right now. Because I didn't have an ad out or a call out I wasn't asking for an opener for a particular gig or anything like that. And I have people who I've worked with a lot, who I trust and who I've had good experiences with. And honestly, that list runs 6 or 7 people deep that I can't, I can't work with them as much as I'd want to. So I'm not really looking for a new person. But for some reason, I went ahead and checked them out, researched them, listened to. I could only find like 5 songs of theirs online. I listened to these 5, and I felt like this isn't. This doesn't make sense to me. This doesn't feel like something that we can package. Because obviously it didn't make sense, the story that they wanted to tell me. And so it reminded me of experiences I've had in my civilian career where I do some hiring among other things, and so I review people's cover letters and resumes, and there's a similar set of points of advice that I would give this person that I might give a job seeker to arm me with everything I need to say yes to you. And I've heard similar feedback from people who book venues. But if you are somebody who has, if you feel like if you listen to this list of advice I'm about to give and feel like I missed something, I can always learn something new. So drop it in the comments, and everyone can benefit from that. So this is what I wish they would have done. Number one, 10 minutes of homework. Listen to a song of mine, get a sense of my style, look at the places I've played, look at who I've played with, and it needs to be this first wall of your foundation that it makes sense because you are in that style or a similar style, or there's a dot you can connect that you've played those venues, you sound like one of the people I've played with, whatever it is. Number two, which I've already started talking about, is be honest. Be honest with yourself. Are you a good fit? Be honest with me. The things that need to be true are you're a good fit, meaning your audience and my audience have some crossover. They would both enjoy each other. We won't alienate each other's audiences. I can package us to a single venue, and if they're saying yes to me, they'll be comfortable with the idea that they're also saying yes to you. That they don't come out and say, "Hey, I booked this guy. He's like a jazzy, bluesy, atmospheric, jazz rock guy, and there's this white noise punk band. I didn't say yes to that." So it needs to make sense. We need to be packageable. And then you need to, number three, make the case. Like, do the work to explain to me why you think, like, just get straight to the point. Draw my attention to what ought to convince and interest me, which is number four. Provide some evidence. Give me a link to the best example of what makes your case. Prove it to me. Send me to the video of you performing that proves it, that will convince me. Don't make me hunt for it. And also briefly tell me what your experience is. Like, tell me kind of where you're playing. Because especially if we're trying to do joint venues, one of the things that might help is you have access to these venues, I have access to these venues. Between the two of us, we can broaden each other's access. Number five, anticipate. What's my hesitation going to be? What's the first clarifying question I'm going to ask? Like, how many pieces are in your band? I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask about backlighting. I'm going to ask about like how complicated your setup is, what your special sound needs are. I'm going to ask about stuff like that. I'm going to hesitate if your example is, is a radically different style, and you're really saying, no, I'll be doing the acoustic version of that. That's not the greatest. So, if your example is not selling itself, make one that does. Your goal here is to give me everything I need to say yes. And then finally, keep it short, sweet, and action-packed. One paragraph and pleasantries ought to do it. And that's it. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have tips of your own, drop them in the comments below. Thanks.